I auditioned for a musical called Wicked, and I did not get the part. I want to talk to you guys about that today and why there are both pros and cons in this story. Hi, I'm Jamie Grace, and welcome to The Audio, a podcast for women and girls who create. I mostly like to talk about music production, vocal production, and playing the guitar, songwriting, but creativity has so many different things. There are probably people that are visual artists that might enjoy this podcast, people who like to sing songs for fun instead of singing songs to share with others. And today I want to talk specifically about musical theater and about Broadway and my audition for Wicked, which was last year. And as I said already, and as you might have already guessed, I did not get the part. So, musical theater for me, it's one of those things that has always been a huge part of my life. I started listening to the Broadway Kids album when I was like 7, 8, or 9. Christy Carlson Romano, who we know as like Kim Possible and Ren from Even Stevens. Yeah, guys, she was a Broadway kid. And so I've always enjoyed the Broadway world, even when I was singing songs like Castle on a Cloud and had no idea like what musical that was from or who it was written by. I just had a bunch of random vinyl and CDs and cassettes from the thrift store and would just listen to stuff all the time. So as I got older, it's pretty natural that I would likely want to consider auditioning for a musical. Now, another thing about auditioning for a musical is that I had auditioned for other stuff in the past, or I had had opportunities to audition, but this was my first time in a very long time kind of like walking up to an open audition. Now, most people that might recognize my name know me from like my music and my artistry and my touring, right? So I had these really cool opportunities because of my talent. Okay, thank you. But also because of a lot of the stuff, you get auditions like if somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. So I got a call a couple years ago that was like, hey, can Jamie audition for High School Musical 4? Hey, can Jamie audition for Glee? Hey, can Jamie audition for, I can't think of any of the Good Doctor, really cool show about neurodivergence and autism. Anyways, so I would get auditions like that, right? This is one of those. I saw it in a Facebook ad, and I was like, this must be a scam. I sent it to a few friends. I was like, is this a scam? Is it a scam? It was not a scam. It was a for real audition for the musical Wicked. It was an open casting call happening last year here in Atlanta, where my studio is, and I was crazy excited about this opportunity. As much as I love Broadway and musical theater, I'm not trained in that world at all, but I'm super grateful for my friends that are, and I was able to be like, hey, can you tell me what a bar and a measure might just be, which I knew, but I just wanted to double check everything. I got a subscription to one of those websites where you can get like sheet music and stuff like that. And I would practice along with the sheet music. I don't know much about sheet music at all, but I tried to learn as much as I could so that I could practice. I ended up settling like my top 3 songs were Corner of the Sky, You'll Be Back from Hamilton, which I wish I had done that one. And She Used to Be Mine from Waitress. And the whole point for me, I was like, I want to pick something that is going to be like a little bit unique that they might not expect me to sing, might be kind of like, oh, what a surprise. And so I know a lot of people sing She Used to Be Mine, but I do not have the voice. I'm not a soprano at all. And so I was like, well, I'll sing it much lower and that'll kind of be the like, oh, that's fun. So that was kind of my plan. I did a few run throughs, I rehearsed all my top 3 songs and sent them to friends and kind of let them help me a little bit. I'll do a casual little name drop. My dear friend Amanda Jane Cooper helped me prep a little bit. My friend Melinda Doolittle, she helped me prep a little bit because they obviously know a lot more about this world than I do. And I went into the audition feeling excited. The room was full of people who were nothing like me, but also very much like me. And I say nothing like me because I believe that everyone is individually themselves. But I also loved being in a room full of people like, what's your audition song? Oh my gosh, I love that song. And it was just really, it was a really cool experience. I ran into a friend, Priska, from college. We hadn't seen each other in a long time. And so that was really cool to see her, connected with a few other people, and we became Instagram buddies and stuff like that. when it came to my audition, I think I waited for anywhere from 30 minutes to 4 hours. I don't remember what is time. And so I waited for a bit. I think we were still masked up at that time. So it was just interesting because the room was just like super loud, but also quiet. So I went in there for the audition. There was an accompanist, I believe is what they would professionally like to be called. Again, I'm not really in this world a lot. And then the Mr. Dude guy who really great in his own right. Just I don't remember his name, so I don't want to like try to be like. Then there was Jim. I don't. Yeah. So I sang my song. I didn't do as well as I would have hoped I did. Or I hoped I could have. I think I psyched myself out with some tempo. I think I may have actually told the guy the wrong time signature or something. And learn music, kids, if you can. Yeah, but ultimately, I was proud of the final 2/3 of what happened vocally. And the guy was, we cracked a couple jokes, and then the audition, Mr. Man, sir, we interacted a little bit, and he gave me a really nice compliment. He was like, "Oh, like your voice," he said, "incredible voice," I think was the phrase, and it was just a really nice compliment, and it made me feel happy. And so I said, "Okay, thanks." And then I walked out, and I left, and I got in my car. I cried for that first third. And I took some deep breaths and I talked through it. And I called Melinda and we talked. And I texted Amanda and I went home. And I never heard from them again. No, but well, yes, that's true. But it's like no hard feelings. That's like a thing. I can't imagine they'd call everyone and be like, "Hi, but I loved the socks." So yeah, that was my experience auditioning for Wicked. Now I want to talk about some of the pros and the cons of that audition. The reason is because I'm a huge fan of auditioning. I always have been. I think you should always go for it. Always audition for things. Always try new things. Always take notes. I also do think you should always have good friends and good community and good people in your life because the debrief, the conversation I had with Melinda afterward helped me feel so confident about my performance and that audition, right? And that's ultimately what it's about. You don't, or at least I don't go into auditions trying to get people to like me necessarily, trying to do things that get people to like me. I go into an audition with the mindset of like, let me be authentically myself and be proud of how I showed up as myself. People liking that is a bonus, yeah? But that mindset only is possible because I have such good friends and such good community around me. Now, yes, I got there naturally with this audition, but 10, 15 years ago, auditions that I went on, I didn't have that mindset. I really was like, I hope they like me. I hope I get the part. And that kind of, was not super healthy and has caused grief and pain from the no's that I've gotten over the years. And another thing that I would say is, along with you got to go out for the audition, you got to check it out, and you got to try it out, and it's good to have good friends around you. Is another component to that. I'm always just talking about therapy because I like talking about therapy. But I would also recommend that if you're interested in getting in this business, to get in some therapy. And I think it'll be a healthy thing because of how auditions might go and the thoughts that might present themselves, the feedback you might receive. I didn't feel like I needed a session with my therapist after this audition. But there have been things in the past, auditions in the past, where I was like, "Ooh, I feel very defeated now," and this one did not leave me feeling defeated. It left me feeling a little bummed that I probably didn't get the part, but also it left me feeling proud of myself for trying something that was so out of my comfort zone to the outside eye, but very much who I am internally as a kid that loves Broadway and that loves musicals. I said I want to talk about the pros and cons of going out for auditions because I want to encourage you to do things that help you step outside of your comfort zone and that help you to explore different paths creatively and help you to honor all the different parts of who you are creatively. So, one of the biggest pros of that is exactly that getting to honor this part of my heart that has always wanted to audition for a musical. And that is something that I'm going to hold with me forever. It is something that makes me feel really cool and not really cool to anyone else, but it makes me feel really cool to myself, and that's crucial. It's crucial to be able to look back and be like, oh my goodness, I really did that. I am really proud of myself, regardless of who is or isn't in the room. It's crucial to have those moments in creativity. Creativity and success oftentimes get mixed into one thing, and they're not the same thing at all. The success that can come from creativity is not contingent on your creativity. It is contingent on right place, right time, who knows who, budget. Budget, my word, it's contingent on budget, but the creativity in and of itself is something that we should always hold on to, and that's one of the major pros that I received, if you will. That's one of the major pros that I have for from auditioning for Wicked is like I got to do this thing that means a lot to me. And it made me feel super creative to like try something new and step out of my comfort zone and mess up and recover and have a good time. Another major pro that I would say from auditioning and this audition experience as a whole is it actually helped me realize that I didn't want them to say yes. Now, I hope that doesn't come out bad. But right after, and this is something that like I've shared online, but we're not trying to like unpack this as a huge story because it's nobody's business. But right after right before this audition opportunity came up, Aaron and I had gotten to spend a good amount of time with some kids who are currently in the foster care system, and just love on them and support them and be there for them. And right after I got this no, we stepped into and this was last year. We stepped into a season and became foster parents to teenagers. And if I had gotten a yes and then I had hopped on tour, I would not have gotten to step into that season and invest in the lives of these young people who needed bonus grown-ups in their lives, who needed some grown-ups to guide them and support them and encourage them. And my husband and I just so happened to be those grown-ups for them. And if I had gotten a yes from from Wicked, I would have been like, oh, I can't do this other thing that we were already considering that's on our hearts. You know what I mean? The audition came up as something that seemed beautiful and amazing and fantastic. But as the days and weeks after it went on, I just started to think of all the other things that I wanted to do and all the other things that were pressed on my heart. And I wasn't hoping for them to say no, but I started to wonder, if they say yes, then what about the other things that I feel called to in this season? So that was another pro, is that it gave me this outlet and this space to truly be myself and to walk away content that that was the space where I got to do that. And it is okay if it doesn't continue for weeks and months to come. I feel similarly about my audition for The Good Doctor. I auditioned for that in 2021, I believe it was, and it was just when productions were starting to get back going and things like that. And it was in another country where they filmed it. I can't even remember, or it might have just been another state. Hold on. You know what? Whatever. It was somewhere. You see the map behind me? My daughter looked at that earlier and she goes, Mommy, we live right there. And I was like, oh, no, no one, okay. So anyways, but I auditioned for The Good Doctor. And when I was auditioning for it, yo, I had so much fun. I was like genuinely enjoying it. I had memorized a script in so long. There was like a 3-year season of my life where I was constantly like trying to go out for, shows and plays and always auditioning. that was like, well, there was a couple seasons of that. There was like 16 to 20 where I was always auditioning for stuff as much as I could at least. And then there was also, I'd say like 24 to 26 years old where I was like auditioning for stuff a lot. And then, or 24 to 27. And then I kind of slowed down because this really wasn't for me. And I wasn't really getting a lot of gigs doing a ton of auditions. And I was like, okay, I don't think this is for me. So I'm 31 now. And so I get this audition, but this is 2 years ago. So I'm what, 29? Okay. And I memorized a script for the first time in a long time. And it was like this really cool, like, she still got it. She be memorizing words. She memorized the words and she delivered in the performance. And the audition was so much fun. We did it remotely, so my sister was the line reader person on the other side. I don't remember what that's called because it's been a long time. But she was that person. And in between every take, we were busting out laughing. And I was like, Morgan, you can't keep laughing. Like, you're being ridiculous. I think I had eaten right before it too, and I got something on my shirt. And so I did the audition at her house because she has a better camera. This is her camera right now. And it's in my studio now because that's how sisterhood works. And I spilled something on my shirt, and then I ended up getting to use one of her shirts. I'm a little sister. That in and of itself is a pro of an audition because I got to wear my sister's shirt. But it was just such a great experience because it really boosted my confidence. I had not memorized a script in a very long time. The way I delivered it, I can't lie, y'all. I can't lie. I went back and watched the audition. I was like, am I talented? It was so it was so encouraging. And our daughter was born when? Bella was born in 2019. So yeah, she was under 2 or however old she was. It was a very crucial season where as a new mom, I needed that boost of confidence. I needed that hint of maybe. And Aaron and I got to talk through what it would be like to travel overseas or up north. I don't remember. I thought it was out of the country, but then I couldn't think of a country. Maybe it was somewhere in Canada. Anyways, we got to talk through like what it would look like to uproot our lives and go live like in a hotel part-time and film a show, which is what Aaron and I did in 2018, right before Bella was born, when I filmed the show The Beverleys in Oklahoma. And that was such a cool opportunity to go like hang out in a hotel for a couple of months while I'm filming a TV show. So it allowed us to dream. It allowed me to dream. It allowed us to dream. And that is another pro of going on auditions, especially when you have healthy friends and healthy community. And when you have good therapy, a lot of times that is beneficial depending on what's going on in life. And yeah, I'm just really grateful for stretching myself and trying things that I don't know for sure if it's going to be a yes, but I know for sure that I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to stretch myself creatively and all those things. And then onto the cons. I mean, I'm sure those aren't all the pros, but onto the cons a bit. Being realistic, auditioning can be hard. And I know that I do think I might be, one person, or I might not be in the majority of people that is like, oh, auditions, yeah, because I do understand that can come from, that it can oftentimes lead to a place of burnout. I want to acknowledge that I do speak from a place of privilege, and I probably could have said that a bit earlier, in that my livelihood is not contingent on auditioning. And so I do understand that can definitely put a damper on the joy and the excitement of the audition for sure. With that being said, with the nature of the world that I live in and the job that I have, my livelihood is contingent on me being creative. And oftentimes those lines of creativity and success, as I mentioned earlier, they can get blurred. Now, again, just quick little caveat. I do have a husband who works really hard, and so I'm really grateful, of course, for him. With that being said, it is really, really hard. It is still really hard to know consciously that my success is not contingent on my creativity. But at the end of the day, sometimes it feels like success is contingent on creativity, and it's contingent on me getting more yeses than nos, and it's contingent on this audition going well, this meeting going well, this opportunity being a yes, as opposed to getting no after no after no after no. And that is, of course, a con of auditions. And there was a bit of discouragement with this particular audition, and with any audition that I've done in the past, when you realize that it is a no, and when you realize that it's not going to happen, and when you realize that those dreams might just not be coming true. It can be really easy for me naturally to jump to the flip side and be like, oh my gosh, like my bank account's empty, but guess what? It means it's a new beginning. Like, sometimes I get on my own nerves, because I can very naturally go to that place, and I can very naturally go to a very positive place. So I do journal a lot, and I very much benefit from therapy, because being able to talk through those negative things can be super helpful, just to process and to not allow ourselves to gloss over the realities of what it's like to be a creative and desire a livelihood, and wonder if our creativity is enough to carry us to the place that we want to go. And there's no easy answer for that. There really isn't. There's no way to know for sure if being Jamie Grace forever is gonna always make sense. And of course, as a person of faith, I know that a lot of people might say, have faith. God's got your back. God's got you covered. Of course, of course He does. There's no doubting that. However, the reality of the difficulty of being a creative can't be lost. I have a lot of friends and peers, but also a lot of people that I don't know, that I just look up to and that I care about, who are affected by this current writer strike situation, and who are writers that are striking, and I respect that and get that. And it's hard, man. It's hard to create, and it can be hard to create. And it's especially hard when we want our creativity to be the thing that holds us and carries us and supports our families and leaves a legacy. But we don't want to be dependent or obsessed with career or money or success. I think that's one of the greatest cons as a whole when it comes to auditioning and pursuing opportunities and pursuing meetings. The walking away and wondering, well, what next? Was that next? And if it's next, why doesn't it feel clear? I think if I could give you any advice, any encouragement, if you are a woman, a girl who loves to create, you love to make music, you love to act, you love to write, you love to direct, I would say get a backup plan. Just kidding. Sorry. Horrible joke. But we all have one, right? Freshen up that professional resume every 6 months. Get on LinkedIn. I don't have any direct advice as far as I'm going to fix it for you, because I'm not the solver of all things yet. I simply can't be. But I would say to surround yourself with other creatives, with other humans who make creative things, other humans who enjoy art and pursue art. Because for one, the measures of success, if we are hanging out with our friends who don't have interest in having a creative career, the measures of success can be super discouraging. And it can be like, oh my gosh, well, they bought a house. I should be trying to buy a house. Maybe not. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Oh, well, they made $10 million, or, well, they have this degree, and maybe that's not your path, right? Know what your path is, pursue what your path is, what it could be, and then surround yourself with people that will support and encourage that. And also another thing that I would recommend is listing out all of the creative things that you like to do, and picking one to really, really, really hone in on for 4 to 6 months. Let it 4 to 6 months, 9 to 12 months, however long it needs to be. Let those wheels start spinning and running. If you work another job, then sure, keep that other job. If you don't have another job, then consider something like freelance work, or something that is a little bit more in the creative world, but maybe not, as forward facing or front of the camera, if you will. Like if you are a photographer, then consider some freelance photography work for a business that doesn't get your name out there, that doesn't get your status out there, but it gets your bills paid. And then at the end of the day, you're still working on your creative project for that 4 to 6 months, those 9 to 12 months to get that spinning. Then as you get that spinning, or as you possibly even decide to put that on hiatus, then you bring the next creative project to the forefront and you start pursuing that for 4 to 6 months or 9 to 12 months. And you just see kind of where that takes you. I think it's super important to lay out everything, write down the vision, and make it plain. Know everything that is that you love to do, that you enjoy doing, and then figuring out how you can implement that in your day-to-day life. When Aaron and I started fostering, nobody, and we don't have, foster kiddos with us right now, but nobody that knew us personally was surprised by that, everybody that was in our lives that we kind of went to them and were like, hey, we think we want to do this for a season and serve, we're kind of like looking for some wisdom and encouragement. Like, what do you guys think? Nobody was surprised. Like everybody that knows and loves us closely was like, yeah, duh. Like that's something that you're passionate about, right? And so when we think about creativity and we think about making art and even possibly like wanting to make a living on creativity and art and music and production and all these things, be mindful of the fact that you are more than the songs you write. You are more than the photos you take. You are more than the productions that you direct. You're so multifaceted. You're so talented. You're so gifted. And there are elements to who you are that are just so phenomenal and beautiful and wonderful. And it's not that creativity or music or acting or writing, it's not that the creative parts of you stifle those things. The creative parts of you lift those things up. And there are so many beautiful ways to be your authentic creative self and to simultaneously be your authentic self who happens to be a creative. So I hope that's encouraging for you guys. It's probably a little bit of roundabout and talk about everything, and I don't think I'm going to edit this one, so it's going to be a lot. But I hope it was encouraging. I hope it was fun. What? I don't know why I said that, but thank you for listening to this. I really do appreciate it. I usually do like a plug-in at the end of these episodes. I don't know if I'm going to do one today simply for the fact that I just reorganized my studio and I kind of feel like I don't even know what's happening because it's like clean over there and my brain's a little confused by that information. But who knows? We'll see what happens after I edit this. What I do want to say is I am super excited about my record Dreamers. It does come out this fall. Thank you guys for just being so supportive and all that stuff. Make sure if you are watching this on YouTube that you subscribe to the channel. The audio is a podcast for women and girls who create right here on my channel where I share my music. And so it makes my heart happy that you guys enjoy these episodes. And leave comments down below if you have any more questions about the creative process, the art process, and I would love to try to answer it in a future episode. And I will talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.